It's me. Okay, we're gonna do this. I have been testing this so much that it's now about 25 minutes after midnight, and I started working on this at least an hour ago. I'm trying to record the volume of the game at about 40%, and it's super loud in my ears, but we'll see if we can quiet it down. So let me know, if this ends up being too loud or too quiet. I wanted to come back to this game. It's been a while. I've done 2 playthroughs of it, and I actually finished them, which a lot of people don't. I've got a better rig. Last year on Christmas, I think it was Christmas Eve, I had what I thought was protection for the computer hooked up, but I had some kind of electrical surge and it just fried the computer. And so I had to buy a new tower. And what I ended up getting was a really nice system with like 32 gigs of RAM, and I'm still using the GTX 1060 6 gig graphics card. It seems to work well enough, but I've upgraded some things, and it seems to work better. So we'll see. I might move where I am in the picture depending on how it goes with the map and everything, but I think this is a good spot. Let me know. So if you haven't played this game, this is probably, in terms of a wargaming experience, where you get to feel the frustration and difficulty of the supply chain of trying to invade the Soviet Union in 1941. It's second to none, right? I'm a logistics guy. I run a space and defense company. I'm an operations management trained guy. I'm on the board of advisors of something called the Operational Excellence Society. And this is my idea of sick fun. It's fun at the start. It really gets into a muddy grind, and winter's terrible and all that stuff. But I realized a couple of years ago when I picked this game up, there weren't many playthroughs of it. People couldn't finish it because it does require a lot, right? For me to do 50 episodes takes the better part of a year. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? I got work to do. There's satellites to be designed, and operations to be improved and things like that that'll get in the way. But I do get back to it, and I wanted to make a new channel specifically for this. So what this game is about is Hitler decides it's time to break his pact with Stalin and do what he always said he was going to do: go to the east, get Lebensraum, living space, for the German people. Part of that is the awfulness of wiping out everybody who lives there so that German peasants can come along and have happy little villages and produce some food, right? And somebody actually wrote a book called The Bloodlands about this area in the Ukraine that has just been fought over and over, and in particular the Stalin purges followed by this. Stalin had set it up so that you were screwed either way. If and the Germans, I guess. If you defected to the Germans, the Russians would kill you if they caught you. If you tried to come back or surrendered and were recaptured, they would shoot you. It was awful. Stalin had his own son left for dead basically after that guy got captured by the Germans, who tried to trade him back as if it was the Middle Ages, and Stalin was like, he's a private. Don't try and ask me to trade generals for him. And the Germans were apparently impressed by that. So the gaming mechanics are a little different than most war games. The way you click to choose what units to fight, what other units, is a little different, but once you get used to it, you're all right. I've played Grigsby's War in the East as well and enjoyed that. It too has a pretty good supply system. But this one, with the political events and trying to get along with other people who are rivals or in charge of other areas. The truck guy doesn't like the trains guy. This is a real problem, right? In this game, very early on, it's easy to get in trouble with your boss, the head of the army. You're kind of playing the chief operations officer of it, Franz Halder, chief of staff, who's supposed to be directing this thing. And you've got 3 army groups in the north, the center, and the south. The south starts a turn later than everybody else, unless you change the rules a little bit. And there's a number of variables that we can pick here, okay? So I'm going to start off, I wanted to start you off with a brand new game here. Unzipping. I don't know, this is a family-friendly channel, people. And let's see what the choices are. So I'm going to stick with the normal AI difficulty and speed. We'll keep on Fog of War. That's for like play-by-mail. Historical stuff. Do we want the dispositions of people at the beginning? I don't know. Mild winter, I'm definitely going to choose that. Okay, the heavy winter, we can play. It's realistic, etc. But man, it's murderous. I'm going to leave the Geneva Convention on because this is like, if you turn that off, it's like the Eisengruppen come in and murder everybody, right? The commandos come in and kill all the peasants and stuff. We could do that another time. I just want to play the game and show you playing the game. I am going to put easy mode on. Let's see what that does. Extra trains and truck columns. Okay, because fuel runs out fast in this game, okay? I think, you know, it does make it so that we probably just get a moderate victory, you know, if we win. We're going to keep the decisions on. I like that. And the war diary is fun. Plots are on. So we're going to go in and this is easy is still not easy. But is it slightly easier? Okay. So special Preturn. Basically, you're going to like agree or disagree with Hitler on how to prosecute the war. What direction do you want to take? This UI takes a little getting used to, I'll admit. I like it. It's pretty to me. But there's a lot going on, right? It's like you got characters, you get all this stuff. Most of this stuff you don't need to look at. Okay? That's a fact of the matter. You probably should. There's layers of reports to read. I probably go in 2 layers deep, and you can go in 3 or 4 layers. That's enough for me, you know, to play the game and enjoy it. So we'll go up here. Actually, let's take a look over here at the stats. There's a whole bunch of statistics here about vehicles that are made and weapons and stuff and how the Soviet staff are doing. And regime statistics are important. We're not doing requests in that, but there will be deaths. And deaths are important. So I'm going to turn the sound down. I thought I had that down to like 4%. And we'll see. There we are. Because it gets pretty loud. And you can back out and slide around. So, and the Finns are there too. And there's this is the surrender line. If the Russians get there, then the Finns will surrender. And so you're starting with several different potential objectives. They have to go a long way. Like Leningrad's an objective. Moscow, way over here, is an objective. There's Smolensk. And, you know, Kiev. And then, like, some Rostov is the other objective. I mean, this is a long way away. And I encourage you, you know, you look at Stalingrad here. And I saw this in the Bloodlands book. If you were to drop a line straight to the south, and that goes to like Iran, and we don't normally think about Stalingrad being that far to the east, right, in the Middle East, but it's far. The fact that they got that far is incredible to me. And I think if Hitler had not stopped to stomp on the Yugoslavs and the Greeks, he probably would have got to Moscow, and we might be looking at a different situation here. Even though Stalin had moved all the production east of the Urals. Smart move. And I don't know, I think they might have captured him. So I think it's a pretty good spot for me. I'm in front of this drawing of some binoculars and a map, so I'm not in the way. So yeah, you got your stats, you got your order of battle for all of you who want to geek out on that. You know, I've got friends and foes here. Yodel doesn't like me. Everybody else is cool with me. And I guess we're not doing anything yet. So Piers wants me here to talk about the strategy for Barbarossa, which means he wants us to agree with his approach. We use political points, which are down here somewhere, for a lot of... Are they? I don't know. There seem to be things that aren't appearing in this pre-turn, or I'm just blind because, I don't know where to look. But I don't see them there yet, or up here. But the political points are energy points that you can choose for decisions, right? Putting pressure on people, and we'll get to that. So, Yodel's like, you should show up. Okay. So you've got three choices here. You could support Hitler's plans, and you don't know what they are yet. He could tell you to go to Leningrad or Rostov, or destroying Soviet Army Corps command units is the priority. You don't know. And during the campaign, he can change his freaking mind. So I don't get too excited about it. I just go for everything anyway. And these middle choices, Moscow or bust, which is a lot of people try and go that way. I'm of two minds on it, right? If Hitler had gotten to Moscow and captured Stalin, who probably would have been, I don't think he would have left, right? He was that kind of guy, right? I'm staying. I think that may have knocked the USSR out because just he was the big leader, and who else is left, right? If Stalin had managed to escape and gone back to the Far East, I think it could have kept going on. However, if you look at a map of the Soviet Union, you'll see Moscow is this huge rail hub, and that's a lot of what's going on, right? And how stuff is shoved to the front. And if you lose that, it's going to be more challenging. So I'm not sure what would have happened there. There is an alternate theory in which this really is a war for energy, right? A war for fuel. And the Germans were way behind from the very beginning, right? To the point where you're looking at it and you're going, you guys probably didn't have a chance to win, except there's that psychological part of it, right? Where certain things happen, capitals get knocked out, leaders get captured, and then the populace just goes to hell with it. We can't keep going. What I'm saying is people are beaten when they feel they're beaten, right? So, but the deal with just actually running the war, in this particular operation, they only had fuel for so many weeks, right? 8-12 weeks, something like that, maybe a little more. But it was very limited. It wasn't like they could just roar tanks all over the Ukraine and do whatever they wanted. They had a relatively short period to get the job done, stop, and ideally send the men back to farming and production, because that's the way this German war machine had worked to this point. These border brush fire wars where they bring the guys out of the factories and the farms, send them to war, they go fight, there's a limited objective, they knock out Denmark or France or whatever, stop, go back to work, right? They're not on total war footing. So, but this changes everything because this is the biggest offensive in history with millions of men. So, just thinking about the fuel for this and the supplies and that, you probably know that they didn't have winter clothing for when the winter showed up, and there are reasons for that. It's not like the leaders didn't know or didn't want it or thought that Superman was going to take care of it. That's not the case. It's just a case of like, what can we actually do? What's more important, food and ammunition to get to the front, or winter coats, right? So that's the choice that they made. I wonder if we were in that situation, what choice we would have made, right? Reading Goebbels' diaries is quite enlightening. They're free online. You can go look them up. And you read, like, the time goes on and they're running out of, like, carrots and stuff like that, right? Only so many calories a day for people in the Reich. And they're making math decisions about people. And it's very challenging. So I'm going to completely ignore the inhuman side of the war conveniently, because that's not what I'm doing, and just concentrate on the military side of it. And this is a very challenging game. So I'm not convinced that the Moscow or bust thing really would work. Maybe it might have. And the third choice is demand military independence. The problem with these two is you get less political points. Now, I'm going to do like Napoleon. I don't care what the directorate says, right? I'm going to do what I want. So I'll take Hitler's extra political points for sucking up and agreeing with him. And once they get out in the field, I'm going to go after every objective anyway, do what I want. So I'm going to decide. He's mighty pleased. It helps our relationship. I got a bonus 70 political points, which have got to appear somewhere around here. And I'll bet you they're right in front of my face, but, I just don't see them. All right, there's an oil train that we could capture from the Russians. And maybe if we wait a little bit, we could capture it. I like barrels, so let's just wait. 80% chance of a good outcome. Yeah. Okay. So train is captured and distributed. Now, my boss, not von Buck, one of the leaders of the army groups is not happy with me because of that, because we held back. Okay. I'm going to skip the paths right now. The fellows who are making the railway, okay, I believe the Russian gauge, the Soviet gauge, was more narrow, so the rail spacing was more narrow than the German one, and on purpose. I think going back to like the Tsars, they decided this, that to make invasion more difficult, they would keep their gauge different from the standard European one. And so what that means is these Eisenbahn troop, right, construction battalions have to come along, lift up one side of the rail and drop it a few inches that way, right? I think the difference is between like 6.5 and 11 inches or something like that. It's not a huge distance, but it's annoying, right? And it's hard to do this while you're under fire, and if there's red groups of resistance fighters running around in areas because you haven't cleared them out yet, that could be a challenge, right? So they have this group to go out and make these changes. And so what can you do? You can fully equip them, you can help them out, or just leave them alone. Now, again, your Von Brauchitsch, your boss, and the other army guys are just going to want to push forward. They don't think about logistics, which is really weird, but like this is the war that really, World War I certainly taught people about logistics, but apparently the Wehrmacht didn't learn that lesson that well, because of the evidence is in what they tried to do, right? When they invaded Poland, they were starting to run out of supply, right, and have supply problems. When they invaded France, the lucky thing for them was the Atlantic Ocean was there. You can only invade so far, and then you run out of room and your enemy capitulates, right? That was kind of a weird situation. I feel bad for the French there. There was some bad luck. There were a couple units that had some negative feeling, I guess, defeatist feeling, and some idea that like the Germans had somehow gotten behind us, which wasn't true. Some leaders that were not very good. I don't think Gamelin was very good. I do know their communication was nowhere near as good as the Germans, who had like various radios in their tanks so they could talk to the other tank commanders and back to HQ, and the French were doing like flags and telephone lines, right? And like one telephone line to the castle where the French leader is, and like that's how he's getting his information. It's very slow, right? So these guys could zip around and, as Jean Parchel said, clean everybody's clock in a great video on tank production that he did. So I'm a logistics guy. I'm going to go with properly equipping the construction battalion, and the other army guys are going to hate me for it, but it's going to pay off later on. Okay. So the train guy's happy. My boss is unimpressed, and they're going to be able to be more effective. Workshop facilities. Okay. So let's talk about trucks. We have truck columns. The fuel is the most important thing, right? And other supplies, but fuel is number one. That is getting brought to the end of the railhead by train, which is always getting worked on by those troops that we just talked about, the construction battalions, right? and moving out. But that's it. That's as far as it can go. Then there's trucks, and those trucks have an operational radius of so much, right, that they can reach to in a certain time period to bring the fuel directly to the front. Now, trucks are always breaking down. Now, we can capture some Czech trucks and use them, maybe some Russian trucks, and the guys will fight about it. You'll see it. The generals will be like, I want these trucks for making our forces more mobile, right? There was a point in the war where the Germans had to give up motorcycle reconnaissance battalions and tell their guys to go to bicycles. Okay, I mean, this actually happens. So fuel starts to get in short supply, and then my truck guy, who's in charge of the supply chain with trucks, is going to want those, and he's going to be mad that I'm giving them to the command generals, right? So there's that. So they're saying, hey, do you want to make a workshop and work on the trucks a little more? It's another 13 political points. 75% chance of a good outcome, 25% at 5, and I'm cool with things with how they are, and a 40% chance of a bad outcome. I don't want to risk that. I've been given enough points by the Führer to go ahead with this. So that worked. That's very good. It almost didn't. The truck guy is happy. Yodel, who's Hitler's buddy, is not. I don't care about Yodel. He didn't do anything for me. What if Romania? Okay. Do we want to get our trusted allies in on the picture and get them activating a turn earlier? Or not tell them and wait a turn later, which helps our victory points? Or leave it. I'm going to leave it. So they're going to start in the south, along with Army Group South, a day later, or 4 days later, as the turn goes. Finland. Do you want to go into a binding military alliance, which is, will they cross the historical border with Russia, with the Soviet Union? They've just fought a war with the Soviet Union and beaten the Soviets up pretty badly, given them a pretty good bloody nose, but also made concessions to stop, right? So we could do a full military alliance that's going to hurt our victory points. We're going to do a mutual assistance, which is going to give them a chance of crossing the border, or leave it as it is. I really like to go with this historical border thing, the military alliance, but we've already beat the crap out of our victory points, right? I don't think I've got much chance of getting more than a limited victory if I pick this. So I'm going to go with the half measure, which is not typically what I do. Normally I pick one or the other. And so it's doubled, and when we get there, we'll get there. Okay. Our train guys are standing by in Army Group North and Army Group South, because those are our Army Group Center, because those are the places where we're going to advance in this next turn here. And they want to know, like, hey, what route should we work on? Now, I've played this game through 8 or 10 times before I played my first public playthrough. I've played 3 or 4 playthroughs on my own, trying different strategies and like what ifs, and 2 public playthroughs, right? And so what I have found is they kind of want you to go up to Riga and Tallinn and Narva in that way. I like to go the inland way, which is to where are you? Knaus here, and this place, and then up this way. And I find that inland road is better. It's just better. I can cut off a lot of people, a lot of Soviets in this outer area by driving this way and cutting them off between the sea and everything else, and getting them to surrender that way. In Army Group Center, I just like to take the straight road up. They kind of wonder whether you want to go north or something. I just want to go to Minsk, Orsha, Smolensk, right? And Vyazma and on to Moscow. Just straight line highway that thing. Okay. So that's an easy one to make. Brest, Litovsk, Minsk, Smolensk. We're going to do that. The Bialyansk, other one, I don't even know where that is. Man, I don't want to waste any more time thinking about it. That's somewhere around there. And Army Group North, the Riga Narva line was the outside channel side of things. I don't like that. I like this. You could do nothing in these cases, and the route will get picked for you, which I don't like at all, because now I'm not thinking, right? And I might want to go this way and the rails that way, right? So I need to pick one. But it does annoy my bosses and Keitel. And so the train guy's happy. So far I have not been punished for picking a rail line. Okay. So that's good. I'm going to end my turn, because that's the first turn and there's no action. Music's very interesting for this game. I don't know if I left the lyrics on or not. I haven't really been listening to that. All right. So these are excerpts from Franz Halder's actual diary, which is interesting. So they don't necessarily match what's going on the screen, okay? They're just fun to read. Okay, so here's what the big man has said. He said, I want to go get to Rostov, where the oil is, okay, in the south. Then destroy Leningrad, the beating heart of the Soviets, destroy army headquarters, and then go for Moscow. So, I can tell you it's hard to win a game without getting Moscow. I can actually get to Leningrad fairly straightforwardly most times, and I can get to Rostov most of the time, unless I get hung up on a frozen river that I can't build a bridge over, which can happen. So I'm kind of in a rush to get into that. And I like this. It's just like, you're doing this. I don't want to discuss this any further. Okay. I've got to, and it's good. Like, the game tells you what to do, right? You need to decide who has command focus and spend some political points on cards. There's siege artillery. I never use it. It takes forever to get in place, and then it takes forever to get it to work. There's artillery support, so there's straightforward attacking fire, and then there's counter battery fire if you're in defensive mode, which in the mid and late game could very well happen. You've advanced as far as you want, you've captured those cities, and now your armies, you switch them over to a defensive stance from blitzkrieg, or neutral by that point, which is normal attacking, and shoot back, and deal with the Luftwaffe, because you can leave them alone for a bit rather than having them come and do fire missions for you. And there's some other things here. It's telling me there's 5 decisions and some other divisions to look at. All right. You can pause these and read them if you want. This is the Hugo War Diary. It's fun. It has really nothing to do with the game, but it is sad if Hugo dies. So you tend to treat that division a little more gingerly, but you know, when the rubber meets the road, I don't care. If Hugo needs to die, he needs to die, you know. All right, I'm gonna save this. New Dan game turn 1. And then we will assume the attack. So, let's see. I got a train going by. I've got a river in my backyard, and then on the other side, the train goes by sometimes. And of course, it's around 1 in the morning, and that's when they do this. Okay. So synthetic fuel, we could really use that. You've heard me say this is a war for energy from a major important perspective. What could we do here? Could we go for the accelerated timeline, full-scale expansion? I'm going to go for the timeline because it costs me less points and has the same chance of success, okay? So I was lucky, and in 60 days, the AG Farben plant will start producing a little more fuel for us. Russian oil. I want to grab as much Russian oil as I can, okay? However, they're saying that captured Russian oil is not refined enough. It's hurting Panzer and truck engines. It needs this thing called benzene. Refine it in bulk. What do we do? Can I get people to put the case in for me or ignore it? I'm going to try. It's 60%. I got lucky again. I'm very lucky. And Keitel's unimpressed. I could care less. And we've taken some oil from the Luftwaffe, which will probably make Goering not be happy with me. Okay, so there's my political points up there. I've got 59 of them. And here are my group of baddies. And if you hover over this, it'll tell you something about their views on you, okay? So he's a little positive at me. You cannot take panzer divisions and move them from one theater to another, one like Army Group Center to Army Group North yet, unless he's okay with it. Otherwise, you get suffered. I've got a bad relationship with my boss. He might do this thing called flip-flops where he reverses some of my orders. That's very annoying. Goering with the Luftwaffe is pretty neutral. The guy in the north, von Lieb, he's moderately happy with me. The guy in the center is not too happy. These are quite recoverable. Same thing with von Rundstedt. He's fairly happy. The trains guy is happy with me because I've been making decisions that take him into account, right? Supply chain stuff. And the truck guy, he's pretty happy with me too because we've talked about fuel a lot. Okay. D-Day +2 air offensive. What do we do? Okay. We've destroyed a whole bunch of enemy planes on the ground. Remember, the Soviets had a lot of stuff, but it was out of date a lot of the time. Okay. So what do we do? So do we tell Goering, no, stop and switch attacking to the ground, right? Supporting our army offensives. That's going to take a lot of political points, okay? I'm going to maintain it for 8 more days, which is 2 turns, okay? It's going to cost me a little. Hermann Goering is pleased because he sees, hey, you're valuing what my plans are and what the Luftwaffe is doing. However, that doesn't help the army, so I'm deeper in the hole with von Brauchitsch. All right, security divisions. I have had a tough time figuring out what the right move is with these things, because sometimes you turn them off and you get a whole bunch of rebel units running around. You leave them on and everybody gets pissed off at you. I'm of the mind to leave them on at this point, doing mop-up. So should they be going to anti-partisan duties or should they be clearing out, so let's make that decision. Should they do security or mop-up duty, right? I'm going to leave them on duty for another month, okay? And that the local generals like it because we're mopping things up. I don't think we really need security detail. And I'm going to do the same thing with Army Group Center. And that's going to bump these guys up to a certain level of happiness with me, okay? So every day there are logs in here, okay, that tell you what happened last time. So this kind of stuff you might want to read every so often. It's probably a good thing. If there's a bridge that they're working on, then it'll tell you about it. And it tells you, what's happening here. You don't need to view all these. And they will give you a performance evaluation, too new for that. We can look at the reviews of the decisions we made. And again, it'll tell you what to do. If I pull down here, the logistics, this I think is important. It will tell you about fuel. We can see fatigue, which units we haven't started yet. Rail capacity, truck columns. A lot of this stuff will be in the regime statistics, though. This is how much fuel each army group has. How are my relationships? I can kind of do a squid sort of thing. How many political points do I have? The trains and the truck columns. These are important to watch, though. It's quick and easy to see when they go and just stop because somebody hasn't been paying attention to their maintenance, right? Or the snow has come in, or partisans have blown up trains or something like that, right? What the Luftwaffe is doing, the partisans. I've been working hard to suppress the partisans. And so that's what that whole section is all about. Jason, we haven't even started the war yet. Okay. So my short-term objectives here are to bust past these guys and get up into this area, right? Block this off, capture Riga, right? And cross this river. I really want to get this airport because that's my next air base that I can move to. And I highly recommend you write these things down so that you can look 5 turns later and go, where's my air base? Where's my supply base, right? But for right now, we want to cross the river and get this. So I'm going to try and push the 18th Army, and that's a headquarters, up this way. to capture this city and push the Soviets this way towards Riga. I want to bring the 4th Panzer around using mobility to try and capture this 8th Army group and destroy it. Everything here. And I'm going to run the 16th Army up the rail line towards Kaunas and push over that river and take it. Okay. On the bottom here, I'm going to have something, whether it's 3rd Panzer or the 9th Army, pushing up along this side of the Army group border to stop people, Soviets, from escaping this way. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to begin with that. In this case, I want to capture this city and here, okay, and Brest-Litovsk. Those are my main objectives. I think I'm going to start with Army Group Center. So we've got Heinz Guderian's group here. I almost forgot. Why can't I play command cards? Because you don't have enough positive points with the leaders. Okay. Cards. Okay, posture. We can make each division or army blitzkrieg, sustained, or defensive. Blitzkrieg chews up a lot of fuel. Right. The Luftwaffe, we can do resupply. We don't need that right now. Artillery, Army Group North. Yeah, let's do that. Let's give it to the 18th Army. They do a lot. Artillery, Army Group Center. Remember, Army Group South is not playing yet. I'm going to give it to the 4th because the 4th Army is ginormous. It's everywhere. Rest and refit. We don't need to do that yet. Focus. Very important. Let's see here. I guess I picked... so the 4th Panzer Group. We can do that. Okay, that's good. If we can give focus... That's extra command staff to a Panzer Group. That's better. And Army Group South, give it to 1st Panzer. So they'll get that. Okay, so that takes care of that. We don't need these other things just yet. I do want to play my freaking cards, though. And I don't know why I can't. Maybe I have to wait till next turn. There should be... possibilities here to assign a bonus based on who's leading, but I don't see them, so maybe it's next turn. That's fine. After I've applied focus, maybe? I'm not sure. You should see these things, though, here, and I do not. So... All right, I kind of figure like I'm going to start with Army Group Center and run along to... Oh, why are you moving? Interesting. But the Romanians are not going to move, and the 11th Army in the far south. Okay, okay. That's really interesting. That the cards have not shown up yet. Okay, so I have to remain cognizant of these lines, right? I want to push the Soviets away so that I can capture these hexes and make sure they can't run across the Army Group line. Okay, so the way you pick a unit to attack is you click on it with that, and then you go to the list and you pick different groups of divisions. And you'll see you get a bonus if you have neighboring hexes that are touching that one with units in them. Sometimes the units don't fight well together, like if it's Romanians or different mobile units trying to fight with regular army. It's not very good, right? We have a maximum of strength we can put into that zone without getting punished, okay? I'm only going after 67 firepower units, so this will definitely work. And as I said, there's multiple levels of detail you can go down to. This is just the color one, right? Okay, I can see that I won. Well, what happened, right? All right, nobody died. I scared the hell out of them, and I murdered a lot of them, right? In this case, and 7,000 ran away. If I wanted to, I could go down to crazy level of detail where this stuff, I hardly ever look in there. I do look at this a fair amount, right? They've got a readiness and a experience, morale, and an entrenchment factor. So in this case, they were ready, but they got the tar beaten out of them, and they kind of weren't expecting that. So I'm going to move these guys in further. And remember, I want 4th Panzer to move north and then come around if I can. But what I'm trying to do is get these guys out of the way in the meantime so that I can continue my offensive. Let's see what I can apply here. Yeah, it's pretty good. So we've got a weak tank division. Again, that turned out really good for us. And I'm going to leave you there. Let's see if we can attack that thing. We could probably surround that thing and destroy it. Let me see here. What's the unit here? 5th or the 35th? Or the 26th? Okay. Okay, so that's going to do good. Okay. So again, we're achieving really good things here. And if we continue looking for another, okay. So I'm just going to head on attack with this one, trying to get him out of the way. We lost a few people that time. And what I want to do is I want to zip around, and you'll see we have fuel. We have 16,000 barrels of fuel here, and they're going to go pretty quick when I'm starting to move people around. So I'm going to just destroy this division right now. It's not going to have a chance. I'm well within the power limit, so I'm not going to get penalized if I go over. We didn't lose anybody. Excuse me. We didn't even lose any tanks, which is interesting. And they lost 10,000 people in that division and some other stuff. So let's just keep on moving. I'm going to leave that guy there, I think. So I don't really want 3rd Panzer running in this direction, north and northeast. I really want them coming down this way and trying to cut off these guys behind. So I really more want 9th Army moving up that way. But they kind of started off 4th Panzer in that position. And so that's what I'm going to do with them. Let's clear this out. That's unfortunate. What does this look like? This is 131, so 145. So I really want to get down in here, but because this is a swamp, I have to put an army unit in there. I don't even think I can run a tank in there. I certainly can't run a truck in there, a motorized unit. So let's do this. And see. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Okay, we'll come back to that. So no one can fight there because they've already used their action points, which are down here. That's not enough to do anything. 20 is not enough to even cross a river. But we have a couple more divisions here. Okay, I'll fight that fight. I'll put the head there. If you can get the headquarters within a square or a hex of the enemy, they'll give it a bonus. So that's not really good. I probably could win that fight, but I don't know. There's a possibility that I should zip another tank up there or something. Do that. I kind of want this hex, you know. So 152 versus 40. You know, you want a 2-to-1 advantage at least. We lost a couple of Panzer IIIs. That's okay. Ah, good. Okay. So that's a unit that can go in there. That one can't. 10, 20, 55. That's the leader. And I think there's still enough firepower to knock these guys out. Nope. Okay. But that's all right. We're not too concerned. Anything over here? Yes. Okay, so I don't really want that involved. We're limited to that 200. 219 is not so bad. Overage, 10%. So we lost a few people there, but it wasn't so bad. And we're gonna take possession of that. I'm not going to move in there because I want the 18th Army moving north. All right, let's punch a hole in here. First and 217, that's plenty. No. Good. Okay, so they're still valuable there. I'm more thinking I'm trying to create a path, right, for First Army to be able to zip out. This is a special group, the Death Heads, Totenkampf, and we can get them out and really start doing some scary stuff here. Okay, we want to hurt or destroy command centers as much as possible, okay? That was a second priority or third priority, I think. And what happens in those situations is we've just taken away command ability, fighting ability, and effectiveness. I'm going to do that. One, because it's an early turn, and two, because I can cut off that division right there, and, well, that's going to be the end of them. Turn off your commander. 416 to 40. I don't believe I need that. Ooh, that really made a big difference. First Panzer, we'll turn that off. Okay. So, for the loss of 200 men and 5 tanks, we have destroyed 10,000 of our enemies. Not bad. Alright, can we do any more attacking here? No. Certainly not with HQ. I'm going to zip him over there so he's a little more central. And, alright. I'm going to punch at this guy. That H is for Hugo's unit. He could die. 600 people died. Maybe Hugo amongst them. We'll see. Alright, let's see. Now, normally I don't want to leave single units out, but it's early. There aren't really a lot of people massed against us. This is one of the biggest groups right here, and it's just 200. And so we're almost at 50% of capacity, right, of what their attack back is. So they're not going to attack. I have scrunched them down, and we'll continue to try and get around behind them here and close the vice. That's really what we're attempting to accomplish here. All right, I'm going to get my guys into position. And again, you can see our fuel just went down 2,000 points. Get my guy in there for the bonus. So that's not enough. I need more. You might say, Jason, why aren't you going for this? I'm going to surround these guys and take them out. How are we doing here? We're a little over. I think we're all right. Sometimes it's better, I think, just to have the superiority and do something with it. And if we got anyone who can go into that swamp there. Unfortunately, no. We do have a couple units that can do damage to this. And we'll see in the command staff. Okay, they got out of there. They were lucky. Interesting. We could compress. I guess we will. That's a really great bonus. So yeah, that was a good fight, right? We did 3,200 damage. We didn't take any ourselves. I'll do that trade every day. And we compressed the enemy more into where they're going. Okay, I'm going to move up there. Where are you going to go? I guess that's okay, yeah. And we'll get the leader bean out of there. I'm going to want to bring these guys back south as soon as possible. What is this? 200. And I can't get anybody. I could probably get some 4th Army guys in there. Okay. So that guy was just a blocker. I want more than just a blocker. There's no one that can go here, huh? Can you come down and help us? Nope. How about you? No. Okay. Alright, well, we'll just do the head-on bull attack. See what happens. Okay. And I think I'll continue the compression. They don't need that many. How many? 67? Yeah, that's pretty good. Alright. Let's see here. Oh, we can't even send the cavalry in. Yeah, that's good. So what I want to do here is drive a wedge into the enemy. 67. Okay. And get them separated. So I'm going to be able to come through here. Okay, so first we need to do this. Poke our way around to stop them from running out. I want them blocked from trying to escape. '75th and 9th. That's good. I really want to get this out of there. There's enough in this guy's movement points left to take that spot. And I'm going to want them to do that. So the 45th and the 267th. Let's get our commander up there. So we got Heinz Guderian special stuff. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. All right. We're getting close here to doing something useful. First big tank battle. Not too shabby. Again, 10,000 barrels of fuel. It's going to go pretty damn quick. I'm going to wait on that because we can attack several goodies here and just absolutely pulverize these guys. Okay, I'm going to leave him there because of the preparation. And now we've pretty much surrounded these guys. I want to do a little more damage from a couple other locations. And there's 267 of them in there. There's 430 outside. Let's see how it goes. It appears we've created panic and surrender at the cost of 30 of our tanks. We've destroyed 34,000 enemies. And we've taken the first city that's on our rail line going up towards Minsk. And so far away to Smolensk. You look at what they actually did. Like, they got there, I think, by like August. That's pretty amazing. My first playthrough, I'd get there in like October. Yeah, the non-public ones, right? When I was just figuring out how the game worked. Okay, so I want to advance my people. I want to do some damage to that thing. Let's get Desreich over there. Let's get our... Oh. You can't go in there. Alright. I want to clear this spot out. So they're technically attacking across the line, right? And we can't go there. But... I mean, they could, but... Oh. This guy should be able to do something there. I foolishly, I see, have made a little mistake, but that's okay. I'll fix it with that. I used one of these guys to fight, and so they couldn't occupy that spot. What I don't want is Soviets going back and forth across this line. I want them to be captured in it and destroyed. Well, you ain't going nowhere. Neither of you. You? No, I don't need you up there. We cannot move you any further. That's right. What about you? Alright. And there's no point in moving this to you. Movement costs 30. Yeah, 240. It's really not worth it. Let's see what we can do to that. That's not enough. What about this? Nope. Boys are getting tired. But they took Brest-Litovsk, so good for them. Yeah, we're really just scanning through and looking at these things, right? We're really low on action units. All right, and at this point, I'm just filling the gap. I want to capture as many of these guys in this pocket here. I really want to occupy this hex next turn and deny that to the enemy, because tanks can't go there, but soldiers can. Can I get you to go the other way? Nope. Okay. May we attack you? No, we may not. Okay. That's all right. Just out of curiosity. Nope. No attacking. Okay. So we pretty much taken care of that. I'm going to move the cavalry up. They don't do very much. They're a nice occupier, but whatever. Okay, so that got us into our first big city on the supply chain to Moscow. We've also gotten into a position where we can bring 3rd Panzer down this way and cut them off from retreating to Minsk. We'll see how far they get trying to escape. They will try to escape. The AI is quite good. We've pushed up here. Not as far as I often do. I think in turn 2 we'll probably end up here. And we've started this encirclement with 4th Panzer. And I'm kind of excited about that. Now, we mustn't forget about the Finns. And so I'll go deal with that now. They start off with a lot of units in the way back. I don't think that's necessary. And we've got a couple different units here. One run by this division, and the other run by these Karelians. And you don't want to get them too far out, right? When they're in this orange level, they're still in command range, but it's not that great. If they're outside of that, if a unit got here from that army group, that would be bad. There would be much unhappiness. they would scream for help. Okay. There is a chance, if I do this properly, that I can surround a unit by coming around this way and blocking it in here and using the geography, right? Just squeeze them. But I have to come down and they have to stand. You notice this B line. We know the S line is the surrender line. The B line is the border line that they were talking about that they wouldn't want to cross, okay? But now there's a double the chance that they would think about doing that. Okay, we've got people here entrenched in Viborg, I think it is. I can't really attack them with a great advantage. What I'm going to try and do is get around and squeeze them so that this is isolated, and that's going to take a turn or two. They did an interesting deployment here. Normally I'm able to attack them in the first turn, and there's really nothing here I feel like attacking, or that I have true numeric superiority for. These guys are doing nothing. Let's see, though. So what that left us with, we dealt with 6th Army, is this. Now, what I like to do in this area is we got Przemysl here and Lvov. I want to bring the panzer units down here or down here to try and capture all these guys so that they can't escape to the east. Usually I come down here between Tarnopol and Lvov. And then 17th Army just surrounds Przemysl and attacks it to obliterate. I always forget about these Slovaks, so I'm going to move them into position now. And we've got some weak mountain divisions in that. They're cool, but they're better used in this kind of terrain, not as attacking units, right? So we want to break through. I want to break free. And we know we have a couple 6th Army units back here, and they really need to be doing this. Bolstering the front. I think over here we could hit this guy. Alright, it's 200 for 1800. And let's see how that goes. I think I can move you there and feel good about it. You have no energy left to really do anything useful. Okay, so I've kind of got to figure out my plan here for the 1st Panzer Group. I could knock him down through here between Lvov and Przemysl. It's not a good idea, really, because I can capture a lot more by coming through here. So I need to move up. Okay, is this the only army thing I've got? Of infantry. In there. We're going to try and go through here and see what happens. 194 versus 132. But some mobility. And we did pretty good. Pretty good. I'm going to leave you there. We got under 10,000. I'm going to go after this thing. I don't want command units attacking. Okay. So that knocked out a few tanks. I think it was worth it. Okay. Can you? No. I mean, I guess it is moving to the front line. How about you? Can you move somewhere? Not very useful. It's a little more challenging fight than many. Yeah. And you'll go there for 0 points, so that's what we'll do. Oh, I got stuck. No, damn it. I wish they had an undo button. It's the one thing I wish this game had. Okay, let's get the Vikings over here and try and punch a hole this way. Alright. Okay, I managed to surround this stack, but I don't know if I can take them. Yeah, I can't even attack. Note that we've gone from 10,000 to 2,000 barrels of fuel in doing that little exercise. And they're going to try and break out. Okay, that's something to know. They want to break out. You know, they're not dumb. See if they'll go somewhere. And we have these single units, which I really don't like leaving hanging about, but it was necessary to get what we wanted. Now they're in really good shape, so they would have to come and attack, counterattack. Gee, with a big stack like this of 137, that's still about double, so they might have a chance. Just out of curiosity. No, everyone's worn out. Okay, so what's remaining is my job of piling on these guys. So isn't that light infantry? What do we want with light infantry, right? Yeah. But I am going to try and knock these guys back. And let's turn the mountains off. We don't need them. Okay. And we need to leave that guy there. See, what I don't like is we don't have anything to continue with, right? As far as punching goes. And that really is a problem. The light infantry is great for quick movement, but they don't really solve a problem, right? What is this? A motorized division. I'm going to turn off the light infantry. I think that's worth trying. Okay, still a good. So we've taken that city. We move the light infantry there as well. And that up. And we'll try and come around this way later. Where's that mountain division? I don't want them anywhere near there, right? So I will move one of the light divisions over there. Do we have anything that can attack this tank division? I would love to secure these guys, but what's going to happen is they're not going to be able to break in or out, I don't think, and then I'm going to be able to come down behind here and capture all these guys at Lvov, and that's an airfield. Okay, so I could really use that, and so I'll come out here with the panzers, block them off, squish the 17th Army, which I usually do use as the hammer to come down this way towards Kyiv, and the 11th Army will eventually come up and meet them. Right now, when we activate next turn, they're going to escape and back off a little bit because we're actually outnumbered here, and the Romanians are unfortunately not that good. You're good for occupying, but not really for fighting. So I'm pretty happy with that as a first turn. I'm not sure I've missed anything. I still find it... Meteorological report will tell you if there's going to be rain, which can make the place really muddy. I really don't understand why I'm not able to pick a card. Because this should be available right here. I like this, you know, I got lots of supplemental information. This arrow tells you they're on Blitzkrieg. But I think that's it. I think I've done everything. I've attacked, you know, and positioned the Finns. I've done Army Group North. It's Army Group Center, and South has started, and I can't do anything else over there. Again, I'm just overawed with how far it is. Okay, let's end my turn. Now, judgment. Oh, it's 1:41. I should be asleep. But I'm stupid, Megatron. I'm stupid. Side Transformers G1 joke, for those who know. Okay, so we have a general retreat happening, as should be happening. But 11th Army hasn't even started yet. And so, yeah, we're seeing them run like rabbits away from Kaunas. There's still a lot to capture there. So I'm going to have to come around in a more sweeping fashion. I've still got that group there in Army Group South. Interesting, interesting. They did not run as far as I thought they would. All right, you can read Halder's diary. Yep. My theater support cards. And you can pause and read that. The mouse is a repeat character. So, Hugo's not dead, even though I ran his... ran his division. Let's see, performance evaluation. It's very early. Obviously, I'm doing well at the tactical and logistical. And we're going to have a bunch of new questions. Stats. Total troops. I haven't killed a lot yet. And they're actually raising their number. Regime statistics. Fuel. We've dug into our stockpiles and new stuff is not really arriving at the front. The trains are doing okay. The trucks are doing okay. The Luftwaffe is busy. The partisans are stirring up some trouble, but not much. We got our reports that tell you what's going on there. Staff. Any more intel? So they'll tell you, hey, we found some stuff. And so I don't know what this means at all, the Soviet plan. I've seen other names. I don't think I've seen that one before, which is interesting. You gotta touch this. So the battle reports, they will tell you what happened. If you haven't seen this before. Where you won, where you lost. Logistics, very important. Fuel, what's happening, right? Zero fuel in. And then we supplied 4,280 barrels. The trains took 4,280 barrels. So there's nothing left at the depot. 36 trains were running. That's a good day, right? We pushed this stuff out. Then the trucks. We had enough trucks. And so the fuel, less the amount of fuel that got used for blitzkrieg operations and that got to the front. Okay, that's good. That's good. That makes me happy. I'm sure there's other reports in there we could look at, but like commander reports and that, I don't really look at this stuff that often. Who's got the readiness? This would tell you what needs to be fixed, what you should worry about first. Super excited about this. I want to play these cards. Let's see. There they are. Okay. So next turn, I will play those. This has been a long one. The first few turns are longer. They will get shorter as I play, and I have fewer explanations and asides and stuff like that. But I wanted you to see, there's the air base and, where the supply columns are getting to. But I wanted you to get the flavor. There's our supply chains moving out. So, wow. So this means so as fast as possible, I want to get, my supplies moved up, right? Here I probably want to get to Minsk or Smolensk before I make that decision. Here I want to get across the river. And over here, I want to get at least to Lvov. Proskuro is better. Kyiv is very hard to get to. And it's kind of out of the way, too. It's not the greatest thing to go get when you're trying to get to Rostov, right? Capturing all these cities is more important. But getting across the Dnieper River is very difficult. And something this time around I'm going to be trying to be in kind of a rush for. Hopefully I have explained enough of what's going on. If I haven't, please leave a comment and say you'd like to hear more about this or that. And I will catch you next time. Appreciate you watching.